Just be careful there.
All right, now we're going back to those live visuals of our big story that we're tracking for you today. Minister Tragically has arrived as well. He's with the Minister of Home Affairs. There we have Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. It seems they're on a walkabout. We also see that the Premier, David Makhura, is also with them, as well as the Police Commissioner. I don't know, Pule, if you can hear me and you are there to just talk us through what exactly is happening now. They're on a walkabout. Are they going to go into the various community, going into the community, or they're first starting at the police station? All right, it seems we've lost Pule there, but a very important day here. We know the developments in Diepsloot. If you remember that 2 nights ago, a gentleman was in fact killed through some sort of mob justice. We're yet to get all the information around that, and if in fact certain people have been arrested. Mr. Elvis Nyati was in fact killed. We had one of our reporters speaking to his wife, the widow. It seems she has also since fled the area out of fear, because the situation has become very volatile in Diepsloot. And a bit earlier on, when speaking to my reporter Pule Letshwiti-Jones and covering the raid there of police officers, quite very disturbing scenes that we saw there of police officers using a somewhat very elementary type of criteria in establishing who is a documented or undocumented foreign national. Pule, I don't know if you've come back on. Just talk to us about the walkabout currently. We're seeing that Aaron Motsoaledi is going into the community. In fact, they've now left the police station. He's flanked there by Ministers Tragically as well as the Premier, David Makhura, and Police Commissioner.
Definitely, they are actually embarking on a walkabout. I assume that they will be visiting one of the neighboring communities around here. And this comes in the wake of what we witnessed, where we saw just about 60 locals who were suspected to not be having the proper documentation being arrested and being taken to the Diepsloot police station. And what we understand here is that this also comes in the wake of the several protests that are taking place in the area, in the name of fighting crime and ensuring that there is much more police visibility in the area.
I don't know if maybe community members are also now expecting him at this particular hour. That's Minister Aaron Motsoaledi. Are there any organized community members awaiting to even be addressed by the minister?
Yeah, no, that's allowed. I'm just going to try and see if we can go inside and maybe get some bit of word from the Gauteng Premier as well to see what he will be doing and what's the operation is about. No, you don't want to move. Premier, how are you?
All right.
How do you feel? What are we expecting this morning?
We will brief you.
Yeah.
But we're coming back here as we said on Wednesday when we were here with the minister that we will come back today. And this is ongoing engagement. Next week, Tuesday, there will also be departments of the provincial government. Those departments are working this week in different areas. So next week we are also coming back. Next week we will be coming back to deal specifically with the local economy based on the Township Economic Development Bill that we have passed in the legislature.
Thank you, Premier.
This is ongoing work.
Yeah.
We're dealing with this week here we're dealing with the issues of crime and complaints of the community.
Right.
And next week we are dealing with the local economy and issues of basic services.
You speak about the local economy. Is this a crisis, Premier? Is this a crisis what we're seeing here in Diepsloot with the levels of high crime and, of course, unemployment topping that on top?
Yes, certainly, and that is why one of the interventions we have made to stimulate the local economy and ensure that local businesses, South African businesses that are here also have a framework to support them. Those who want to do business, who are doing businesses, have a system that supports them. But also we want to ensure that there's a lot of other illegal businesses operating here, creating problems in the community. So through that system, we'll also be able to get rid of those that are involved in businesses that are harmful to the community.
All right. Premier, thank you very much. I'm going to allow you to catch your breath. Maybe let me just try to see if I can get the Minister as well, Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. Thank you very much for joining us on eNCA. What's today about?
No. I'm still coming to here. Remember, I'm coming here for the first time. The Premier and the Minister of Police were here before. I'm coming only today. So let me hear first what's going on before I speak to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much. That's the Minister, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi Nomfundo, saying that he just arrived here. One would have wanted to push for more questions, but I've been also trying to get to the Police Minister, but you know, it's quite tight here, and the police presence and protection is very tight as well. But the Minister will be briefed from any minute from now. It's his first time here since the protests have taken place in the area, and he will be taken into task as to what are some of the things that will be taking place here, flagged by the Premier and, of course, the Police Minister in regards to responding to the issues of the problems here that have plagued Diepsloot as well.
Well, just listening to your engagement or exchange with the Premier, it seems right now he has an appreciation of the issues that are plaguing this particular community, be it economic development, the lack thereof, be it the unemployment, and all of those issues and the undocumented foreign nationals that are there. But then one wonders that why has it taken this type of an event, these incidents, the scenes that we've seen? I mean, we saw people protesting to police stations, police firing at community members, and then somebody losing a life. I mean, has he only established everything that he told you now, just now? Because it then looks or comes across as if we've got a government that is reactive, not proactive.
Definitely. Response time is always important, and as we understand is that this is the Premier's first time being in the area. But one would also argue that the police had said that they had dispatched police officials to patrol and, of course, try to ensure that there is proper police visibility. But then that brings in the element of consistency. As you speak to other residents who say, this is not the first time we've seen such an operation where we promise that there are police officials, there are police visibility. It will take place for 2 weeks, and then again it's back to square one. Crime elevates, and police visibility is not there. So we're just waiting any moment from now. Again, we're being told that the Premier will be coming out to brief us, but what's happening inside is that the Minister of Health, of Home Affairs rather, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, is currently being briefed, and what we do understand as well is that he's flagged by the Police Minister. I'm just going to try to see if we can go in and maybe just to give you a clear image of what will be going on inside when this takes place.
Okay, guys, let's get the Premier on then.
All right, the Premier is just here in Mfundo, and we will be asking the questions right now.
Yes, the Premier is going to come and speak to you, colleagues.
While the Premier is still here, we're just waiting for some of the media colleagues to actually set up, but we'll be asking those questions as one, just to get clarity around what you asked me in terms of response time as well.
Let's just wait for...
Okay. Hi guys, can you see us? Hi studio, can you see us? Hi studio. Hi studio. 1 second, guys. Okay, that's us calling. Okay, guys, take this live now, please. Take live now. All right, Premier, thank you very much. Good morning. Good to see you.
All right, as you can see there, it seems the Premier is getting ready to address some members of the media, just seeking clarity as to the exact situation currently. There, let's just listen into the Premier addressing the media.
Minister Bekicele, we were here on Wednesday with the MEC for Community Safety, Faith Mazibuko. We met with the community leaders, and later the minister addressed members of the community. We listened to all the issues they have raised. They have raised those issues before with the minister. The big issue here is the problem of crime. There are 7 people who were killed in a very brutal way. On Wednesday when we were here, we went to places where the people were killed. They were stabbed, they were shot at. There was a gang that moved around doing door-to-door, literally breaking doors and shooting people. So there are 7 people who died in total. The community was extremely upset. They are still extremely upset about that. So the minister made a clear commitment about the reinforcement of police, including vehicles, and the deployment of the TRT, and otherwise known as Amaberet. They were deployed that evening, but we know that that evening members of the community here, a group amongst them, was doing door-to-door work, and they went to attack and kill Mr. Ndlovu. We condemn that. We condemn any act of violence, and they were doing this, what they call door-to-door. They were doing that to identify the people they say are responsible for killing the 7 people who were killed I referred to earlier on. You know that one of the big issues which was raised here is about illegal foreign nationals and undocumented migrants, issues around the businesses here that are also operating illegally, and drugs. And we said when we were here on Wednesday with the minister is that they must leave the community. We will reinforce. We added the number of vehicles here. The community must not take the law into their own hands. This matters of people who are criminals, people who are involved in illegal activity, including those who are illegally in South Africa. It's a matter that the law enforcement agencies are rising to the occasion to deal with. The Minister of Home Affairs is here joining us today. He has been dealing with these issues around the porous borders extremely. But we don't want, I've said that again and again, and government, including National Cabinet, has said that. We can't support any South African who take the law into their own hands. You can't have people who are moving door to door saying they're identifying the illegal foreign nationals. It's not the job of anybody to do that except law enforcement agencies, because that's exactly what's going to happen. Once anyone is allowed to do that, innocent people are going to be killed. Even if somebody was in South Africa illegally, they cannot be killed. The law enforcement agencies have a responsibility. Home Affairs team, you see the team of Home Affairs is here, has the responsibility to do their work, reinforce our borders, and that work is being done at great pace in our country. So we agreed with the community that we will come back today. So we are having a meeting today with the stakeholders. This is a continuation of the meeting we had. We are going to report back to them about the announcements that the minister made on Wednesday, how many police were going to be deployed. The minister said to me today, all this that which he committed to was done. I know that the Amaberet have been doing their work already. There's now a new complaint that Amaberet is the TRT unit. You know, when they get to a community, when the community asks for them and they get there, they start doing their work. So one of the things we got is that there's already someone who's complaining. There's an area called reception area. That's where the criminals hide, commit crimes, not just in Diepsloot, in all the different areas of Gauteng. They commit crimes. They commit crimes in different areas and go and hide in that area. So the police were in that place for 2 nights, consistently carrying out their work. And I think today what we are doing here is a report back. There are other important issues that we are going around throughout Gauteng. I was in Orange Farm yesterday. The MECs are all over the province. We are dealing with the local economies. You know, unemployment is a big issue. At the back of all these issues that people are complaining about is about their livelihoods, their source of income, and it's very easy to start blaming somebody else. So we have passed the piece of legislation called the Township Economy Bill. We are going all over the province. From here, I'm going to Ivory Park. So we are also coming back next week to deal with the local businesses that are operating here. We also don't want businesses that are operating illegally, and including those that are actually conducting illegal businesses as of what they do. Some of them, they pointed to us, the community pointed to us, people they say are selling drugs. We're going to crack down on all that. We're not just doing it here in Diepsloot. And that's why I'm saying to you, MECs are all over Gauteng. So when the meeting will continue with members of the community. There are other things they want us to deal with. And then next week I am back with 2 MECs in this community again to look at other issues beyond crime and the concerns around illegal activities taking place here in Diepsloot. Beyond that, we will deal with those issues next week again.
Premier Crisalda Lewis from SABC Television News. It's important that I ask this question because we can see why there's so much tension taking place between South Africans and foreign nationals. The 7 that you speak about, yesterday I distinctly asked the National Police Commissioner about the 7 people who were killed. He said he knows nothing about the 7. He only knows about 4. You're mentioning 7 here today. Do you know the identities of those 7 people who were killed? Were they South Africans? Were they foreign nationals? Do we know if what is being sought at this stage are foreign nationals who are believed to have killed those South Africans? It's very important that we...
Yes, certainly, yes. I can say that the people who were killed, so some were killed in October last year. The numbers I'm referring to, we were verifying them with the minister on Wednesday when we did door-to-door to understand how many were killed this past week and how many were killed from October. The 7 is the total number. They are South Africans. This I must say. And the communities are alleging. And let me tell you, we spoke to people who were attacked. We got into places. They explained to us the modus operandi of the gang. They are alleging that, yes, they are not South Africans. That's something that the police are following up on. So the allegation is, yes, this gang that has been getting house to house, breaking in, shooting, stabbing people, and they ask for money, they ask for TV sets. They say the community alleges that they are foreign nationals. That can only be confirmed by the police. But yes, those who were killed. So in other words, we adding Ndlovu now, who was brutally murdered. So there are 8 people who have been killed, but it is over a period of time. When we came here on Wednesday, there was no certainty about how many people have been killed, and they are alleged. These 7 have been killed in the same way by the same gang. The police have been following on this gang, and the minister has also deployed here a team of detectives who will be able to track them down. Even if it means they run out of Diepsloot, we know how criminals operate. They go and hide somewhere else. It is a team that there's a detective team that will track them down. I want to emphasize all these issues have to be dealt with by law enforcement agencies and the authorities. And there's no one entitled to organize themselves and take the law into their own hands. That shouldn't happen, because we saw when it happened in Alexandra, they just look at your face, they just look at how you look like, and then suddenly you have to produce your documentation. It shouldn't be done by citizens. It is the responsibility of Home Affairs, has a whole machinery. Immigration officers are responsible for that. And even here in Diepsloot, those immigration officers will work with us. As I said, the Township Economic Development Bill enables South African businesses and businesses owned by those who are legally in South Africa to be able to operate in our community. So we have a program that goes beyond just responding to this issue of crime. We are looking at how we activate our township businesses and support entrepreneurs, because at the end of the day, it's an issue of competition for resources and jobs and jobs and jobs.
Premier Pule Letshwiti-Jones from eNCA. In your SOPA 2022, you spoke about fighting gender-based violence. Now, a report has been released showing that Diepsloot has one of the most crimes in the country against women. Would you say that government's response time, especially provincially, has failed to actually address some of these issues of crime in this township as well? And then secondly, there's also been an issue, what we saw, where police confront some of the locals and they ask them to describe a body part in a native South African language. Is that, a deference to a right to human dignity as well?
Well, let me say that the police in Gauteng have been working extremely hard to deal with all different types of crimes, including gender-based violence. Every week on Thursdays, they release statistics around how many people have been arrested, just from the point of view of arrest, and those they are looking for who have committed crimes. So even early this morning, I received a report, as we do every Thursday morning. We have Okaimula operations. I did receive a report about how many people have been arrested on the GBV cases. Certainly crime is a big problem. Even as the police are working as hard as they do, the communities are feeling unsafe. But the only way to really respond to crime, firstly, we as the state are reinforcing our resources. In the State of the Province address, I also indicated how many vehicles the provincial government had to buy for different units of the police to add to what national government is providing. Resourcing the police is extremely important, but we also have to increase the number of police. Gauteng is a highly densely populated province, so this one of the issues I've been discussing with the minister is that we need to increase the number of police here, but also there are communities that are often complex to police. The environment and the layout of those communities, especially informal settlements where people have just come, settled themselves, can be very, very difficult. Law enforcement agencies must do their work. There can be no excuse for that reason.
Do you support how the raids have been conducted, going to locals and saying, describe body parts in the native South African language?
Well, look, the important thing is that South Africans are like this. So when there's no police action, they want action. When there's action by the police, there will be a complaint. All I want to assure you is that we want the police to do their job. Their job must be done in accordance with the law. So they shouldn't do things that are not allowed by the law. But the police must first and foremost be on the ground and do their their job. They must do their job. Doing their job often will irritate people. As I said to you, Ama Beret, this community was calling for Ama Beret. But I already hear there's a complaint that, no, these guys are too much for us. When you have criminals, you've got to send your best police units in those areas to get the criminals. And they must get the message that what these guys have been doing, this gang has been doing here, door to door, cutting down, breaking into people's houses, shooting people, stepping people, they're sending a message that undermines rule of law. They undermine the sovereignty of the state. And it doesn't matter whether they are South Africans or they are foreigners, they must be tracked down and they must be brought to book.
Thank you very much, Premier. Who are you meeting with? Who is the delegation? And will they be relaying the message, or you guys will be going out and briefing them?
Okay, on Wednesday when we were here, we met with the representatives of communities. There were around 40. They come from different organizations, from the churches to also the political parties. The good thing is that all of them have been working together. So there are political parties, there are civic organizations here, there are our councillors in this area have been coordinating that. So the stakeholders meeting we have here is with all the including small businesses that are here. That's why the issue of the businesses supporting small businesses in this area is extremely important. So, and I want to emphasize that today we will not deal with all the issues. It's a continuous program. Next week I'll be back here on Tuesday to deal with the issues facing small businesses in this area. Thank you.
There you go, Nomfundo, the Gauteng Premier, David Makhura, just briefing the media regarding their visit today in Diepsloot. And those are some of the responses we got in terms of what government is trying to do. And of course, police officials working hand in hand with various stakeholders to ensure that they can curb the crime that's taking place in Diepsloot, saying that communities allege that the group that committed the crime, killing some of those 7 individuals, are foreign nationals. That's something that's yet to be established by police officials, subject to investigations. But again, correctly so, the Premier says he was here on Wednesday, met with the political leaders and community members to try and find a way as to what could have been the root cause to this problem. And he's added some of these issues, elements from crime, the high unemployment rate, and of course what we're seeing here, where some of the locals are alleged not to be having those proper documentation, such as what we witnessed when we were here from the morning. But as it as it's ongoing right now, he's currently inside there with the Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Motsoaledi, and of course the Police Minister, getting an update to what has been going on in the area from some of the various stakeholders.
So, Pule, in fact, it has been confirmed 7 South African individuals did pass away between the period of October and this past weekend. And that puts that matter to rest, because it seems to have been a very topical one, even on social media, with some asking that can they in fact confirm that 7 individuals had been murdered. But a very interesting response from the Premier on the second question you asked around the manner in which the raids are being conducted by police. Sounded very evasive there, because he seemed to be responding with some sort of a statement around communities wanting police, and then once police are in, then community members want police out. But it's very, very concerning, because there can be 2 answers in such a situation. There can be something that is right in that situation where, yes, they do want police. But secondly, it can be wrong how police go about conducting themselves once in the community. So clearly here, there could be 2 answers to one very important question, similar to this one, where, yes, they might want there to be raids that are conducted to establish who is documented and who isn't. But it certainly could be something that raises eyebrows when it's not conducted in the proper manner, when the criteria is you speaking a native South African language. Very, very interesting response. Hopefully this one can be broadened, because we also did hear the Premier go on to condemn the manner in which members of the community in Alexandra went on to establish who is a foreign national, who is documented and not, by merely just looking at people. So very interesting but contradictory statements there, insofar as the police doing something that is almost similar to what ordinary citizens are accused of in this manner, because that criteria was very concerning. I've always heard of it being some sort of a joke that you'd be asked to speak a native language, and if you cannot speak, you're deported. But today we saw it on live television, where you are asked to count in a native language or describe a body part.
Definitely, we were there when this happened, and that was quite, a very, how can I say, a response whereby you could see that the Premier is actually trying to evade that question and not directly go through that question. And as I told you on Wednesday when we were here, everything was conducted within the prescript of the law. We saw police officials being accompanied by officials from the immigration services, and of course the officials from the Department of Home Affairs, which co-opt and work together. What we saw today was a complete different pattern, and at some point we could actually realize that chap which they apprehended and they alleged that did not have the correct documentation did say that he had the correct documentation. He showed them where he resides, and one neighbor did say and attest to the police that no, we know him and he actually lives here and he's correctly and legally here as well. So those are some of the loopholes that you are right to say will need a broader perspective when we speak to the Police Minister, and of course Dr. Motsoaledi later on today, to ask him where did it go wrong, and is this the jurisdiction that must be followed by police officials when conducting such operations, because there's a lot of criticism around how these operations have been laid out throughout this whole week. And most importantly, so yes, we do admit that crime is crime, whether foreign or local, but the view that everything should be conducted within the prescripts of the law should be followed. Particularly, it should be a precedent set by those who carry the law, such as law enforcement agencies as well.
All right, Pule, we'll leave it there for now. We'll catch up with you a bit later on as the day progresses. Now